So here are the 4 reasons why your kid engages in a tantrum. It's going to fall under one of these 4 reasons. And by the end of the video, you'll be able to confidently, hopefully, identify what function or what payoff, what is the reason my kid is engaging in his or her tantrum. When parents come to me and say, hey, I'm really navigating this challenging behavior or this aggression, biting, hitting, or scratching, what recommendations do you have for me, right? And my first follow-up question is, well, first we have to identify the function. You just told me the behavior, but I don't know what the function is, what the payoff, and that's what we're going to be learning today, how to identify what the payoff is. Okay, welcome to today's video. Today, parents, I'm going to teach you what is the hidden reason why they're engaging in this tantrum or aggression, okay? I'm going to teach you how to decode that. By the end, you'll be a pro. You'll be like, you'll have a sharpened clinical eye, and you'll be able to identify the reason behind the challenging behavior. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. On a quick tangent, I took a break from YouTube. I haven't filmed in like a month or so, and I feel like it's really hard to get back on the horse. I feel like I'm speaking in front of like a mass audience. I feel like I'm speaking in front of a mass audience of like 1 million people. And it's just me and my camera. It's because there's awareness there that people will be watching, It's kind of freaking me out, but it's okay. It's okay. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going and learning together. Okay. So let's start. Let's start, parents. Okay. So a big takeaway of this video is that behavior. What do you need? What do you need? No, thank you. I'm filming. What do you need?
I was going to say another pot. The sugar was so low. Tinier than a germ.
Tinier than a germ, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well, last one. Go get it. Last one. Okay. All right, parents. So before we can begin to decode challenging behaviors, we first have to understand that all behavior is functional, okay? This means that all behavior serves a purpose. There's a reason why your kid on the spectrum is engaging in this high-intensity aggression or tantrum. It's because it's functional, which means it serves a purpose. There's a positive outcome that is a result from the challenging behavior, okay? So it gives your kid a result and a favorable outcome. Okay? To us, we see like, how could a tantrum be favorable? Like, I see him red in the face, veins bulging. I'm upset. He's upset. Why would he engage in this tantrum, right? Favorable outcome is really subjective. It's individualized to each learner. So what you think is a favorable outcome might be really different from what I think is favorable. And so we'll talk more about that. I know that sounds kind of dense. But let's do a brief example, okay? So your kid is at school, okay? And your kid has high intensity tantrums, hitting the teacher, hiding under his desk. And whenever he engages in those behaviors, before he engages in those behaviors, his teacher presents like a worksheet, like maybe it's math or tracing. And after your kid has the high intensity tantrums, hiding under the table, crying, big meltdown, the teacher gives your son a break from the worksheets. And she just says, okay, I'll be there. They'll be there whenever you're ready. And your kid doesn't have to complete the worksheets anymore. The favorable outcome of the behavior is escape. Like this yucky aversive stimulus or thing was presented, he engaged in the tantrum, and then it got removed. The teacher said, oh, okay, I'll just give you a break. and there was relief, right? So even though it's kind of hard for us to observe or kind of pinpoint why that behavior happened in the exact moment, all behavior exists in a pattern. So once you kind of write it down, all the instances of behaviors that your kid is exhibiting, I guarantee you're going to find some kind of pattern. You're going to see, oh, I noticed before the tantrum, this happens. And after the tantrum, this usually happens. Wow. And it kind of gives you a window into what I mean when I say the behavior is functional. Okay. So let's keep going. Okay. So behavior is functional. And the second part of that is there are 4 functions or 4 reasons or 4 payoffs. Let's add payoff here. Because functional is also like the payoff. What are they getting out of the tantrum? Okay. Okay, let's continue. Let's persevere. Okay. Now, parents, there are 4 kind of categories where the reason or the function or the payoff kind of falls into. It's going to be one of these 4 reasons for the behavior. Let's break them down one by one, okay? So here is our kind of matrix. So let's do an example. Your son is obsessed with goldfish. He loves goldfish. It's one of his favorite things to eat, but you don't like him eating it that often. So maybe one day he walks up to you and he puts the box of goldfish in your lap. Okay. And you say, oh, not right now. We're going to have dinner soon. And it is a huge meltdown. There's crying. He's hitting you. He's trying to grab the goldfish from you. And you have to put it up on top of the fridge. And it's really a huge escalation, okay? And by the end of that, you're so tired, you end up giving him a little bit in the bowl, okay? Let's kind of break down this example, okay? Can you see the bottom of my board? Yes, you can. Okay. Let's kind of break down this example. Behavior happens in 3 parts. This is going to sound kind of dense, but stay with me. I promise once we kind of hit more examples together, there's going to be more clarity. Okay. So here's B in the middle. The behavior is always in the middle, okay? So this is before the behavior, this is during, and this is after. It's a 3-term contingency. Stay with me, okay, parents? You're doing great. Okay, so here's a huge tantrum right here. Boom, crying, falling to the floor, trying to hit you, trying to grab the goldfish. He's sweating by the end, okay? What happened before the tantrum? You said no more goldfish. Can you see that? Anyways, you said no more goldfish. The tantrum happened, boom. At the end, what happened? What happened after the tantrum? In the example, he got a little bit of goldfish, okay? Got goldfish, okay? So in this example, we can see that in A, before the tantrum, something was denied. You said, no, you can't have something. The tantrum happened, and here the result was, I got it. There's something successful happening there. He obtained the reinforcement, and in the future, he's going to engage in the tantrum again because it got his needs met. This is the first category of our function. It's called access to tangible. So I'm going to put, I'll say access to tangible. Let's say that. Access to tangible. Let's do... Okay, here's a candy to help you remember. So access to tangible is just like it sounds. The child obtains a tangible item. It could be a candy. It could be some goldfish, like in this example. It could be access to going outside. It could be access to mom. It could be access to video games or iPad. Really, it's something tangible that you can see and hold in front of you. Okay? Let's do another example right here. Gosh. 15 minutes? Girl, this might have to be a part 2 because this is already taking a while. Okay, so another example. Let's say your kid is on his tablet, okay? And it dies. It's a huge meltdown. He throws it across the room. It shatters, it breaks. There's a huge crack in the middle of the screen, and your kid is having a fit. Like, he's crying, falling to the floor. You get up and charge it. As soon as it's finished charging just a little bit, you give it back to him, and then his tantrum stops. Okay? So let's break this down, ABC. So here's a huge tantrum. Behavior never comes out of nowhere. There's always a trigger, okay? Even if it's not clear to me and you. So what was a trigger? What happened before the tantrum? The tablet died. Oh my gosh, why is this marker? Tablet died. The tantrum happened. What happened after the tantrum? After the tantrum, you picked up the tablet, you charged it, and you gave it back to him. So I might say, Mom charged tablet and gave it to him. Okay? Same thing. Access to tangible. If you can see, something was removed here, something preferred, motivation was present, boom, tantrum happened. See, Mom charged it and gave it back to him. This is a successful, the kid successfully obtained a tangible item, which was the tablet. Okay, so this is the first one, access to tangible. So parents kind of think about your kid's ABC, put his behavior in the middle, kind of think about the trigger and the consequence, and think, is there a tangible item being obtained? Because if it is, this might be your kid's primary function for his tantrums, for his aggression. Okay, this is probably the most easy to identify because we can see it with our eyes. Okay, any questions on access to tangible? No? Let's continue. Okay, so this example is a little, let's use our classroom example from the beginning. So your kid is at school, the teacher presents the worksheet, and then there's a huge tantrum. It's typically during math time, okay? And when the tantrum happens, your son hides under the desk and he just kind of waits there, and the teacher walks away and attends to the other kids. And then the tantrum ends. Okay? So let's do our ABC down here. Here's B. The tantrum happened. He was hiding under the desk. I can write hiding. Maybe he's crying. Poor little one. Okay? What happened before that behavior? Do you guys remember? Before the behavior, the teacher presented the math worksheets. Okay, so math worksheets, tantrum happened. What happened after the tantrum? Do you remember? The teacher walked away. He didn't have to do the math homework. Teacher left. Okay? So you see how this example is different from the first one. There's no tangible item. He didn't get a treat or a sticker or more iPad time. It wasn't a tangible thing that you can see or hold. So it's not this one. This looks a little different. As you can see, something aversive, something yucky is happening here. Ew. Math worksheets, okay? B happened and C, oh, relief. The teacher left. I like that feeling, okay? That's called escape. Something yucky is presented. I engage in the behavior, and then I get this relief because, phew, it's gone. It's over. That's escape. Let's do another example. Also, parents, I just want to clarify that behaviors are not good or bad. Functions aren't good or bad. It's just, our kids' way of, our kids are so smart. Our kids on the spectrum are so smart. It's the way that they've found to navigate the world around them. So when we identify the ABC, it's not saying our kids are bad. It's that the first step to addressing challenging behavior is to identify the function. What is the reason behind this challenging behavior? Then as clinicians, again, it's the first step. So we're like, oh, I can confidently identify it is escape, for example. From there, we provide clinical recommendations and give it to you or teacher or whoever is navigating that piece. And those strategies are meant to change the 3-term contingency, not change the tantrum. We want to change what we're doing here and here. Because when we change our environment, which is here and here, this will naturally change. That's the beauty of a behavior change. That is the beauty of applied behavioral analysis. These are evidence-based strategies meant to support you. Escape is kind of tricky. I think sometimes in theory it's easy to see, it's easy to identify, but when you're in the situation, it's kind of tricky. Like, what the heck is going on? Okay, let's do another example of escape. So your kid is a picky eater, okay? And you present him a new food and you really want him to try it because you think he's gonna like it. Let's say it's rice, okay? And so you kind of scoop it up. You say, here, try it. And your kid kind of, he pushes his head away, okay? And you kind of scoop it up. You say, come on, I think you'll like it. And you try to feed him. And he flings the spoon out of your hand, kind of hits you, swipes you. And you're like, oh, wow, okay, never mind. You don't want it. You don't want the rice, okay? Let's say that was a hit. Let's pretend he hit you. He swiped the spoon away, he hit you, okay? Aggression. So let's break down the ABC right here. Parents, we always want to start with B. So let's put what we saw in the middle. So we saw in the middle, swipe spoon and hit mom. Okay? A, what happened before that? Do you remember? Before that, you scooped up the rice and tried to feed it to him. Fed him rice, or you tried to. He swiped you and hit you. And then last, what was the consequence? Also, parents, let's pause real quick, really, really briefly. I want you to try to refrain from judging yourself and saying like, oh, are you trying to say I'm the one creating this behavior? Parents, you have the best intention, all this love and care for your child. I'm a firm believer that education and being self-aware is the first step to behavior change, is the first step to growth and progress. So if there's some epiphany you had during this video, please share in the comments below. I'd love to learn what you're thinking. This is like one way, so I'm like, I'd love to hear from you. So you fed him the rice, he swiped and hit you, and last, what happened? You removed the rice, okay? You said, oh, okay, you don't want it, and you stopped trying to feed him. Removed the rice, maybe you put it back in the fridge. Can you guys see how this is escape? Because the something aversive, something yucky happened here. He engaged in the behavior, and then the yucky thing was removed. You took it away. It was a successful removal. There are things that us as humans and animals, we don't like aversive situations, and then we try to find any way to get that relief, to get that yucky thing removed. Once it successfully is removed, that behavior now becomes part of our repertoire. It becomes part of our learning history. So in the future, especially with autism, right? Because autistic kids have deficits with communication. They can't say, ew, get that away from me. Or no, I don't want to try that. Or no, not right now. Or no, thanks, mom. Right? We don't always have those communication skills. So our kids are going to find any way to get their needs met. And they're doing the best they can. Right? They're so smart. Look at this little one, like learning in his environment. He's doing the best he can in that moment. Okay. Any questions on escape or access to tangible? Yes or no? If you made it this far, parents, you are a real one. Thank you for following along. Maybe I'll make a part 2 so it's not too long. Yeah, I think I will do that. Go ahead and click on part 2 here. I'll catch you over there in a bit, okay?